Welcome to Champagne Sunday. I'm Lauren.
Hey, I'm Bonnie.
I'm Beth.
And we're going to talk about life
After divorce.
And living
The best life.
and the life you love.
Yes, living the life you love on that other side.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome.
Let's talk about how we thought our lives were going to turn out, the supposed tos versus the reality of where we are now.
Yes.
Especially in terms of where we're at in life and where we thought we would be.
Where we thought we would be. What our... Yeah, because I think we all... the pretty princess idea of where everybody thinks their life is going to go and then life happens. And I think it happens to everybody, not just necessarily divorce. But divorce did throw a huge wrench in that plan of mine to have been married for 50 or 60 years and have those golden anniversaries and, surrounded by grandchildren with my husband in retirement, all that. I mean, of course, clearly that didn't happen. But.
And I think there's like sort of this image, and it's a societal image of like rocking on the front porch in your old age with like, the person you've been
Holding
married
hands
to forever.
Yes.
And that's really, honestly, not realistic for probably at least 50% of the population. I don't know numbers. Don't listen to me with that. But
So where I am in my age now is I won't be rocking on the front porch, but I might make it into the commercial with the side-by-side bathtubs.
Same, Beth.
That's my dating pool. Anyway. It's a little light humor in there because I think well, when you get married, you have this idea of sort of fairy tale. And I mean, I don't think it's just for a generation or a couple of generations. I mean, I think you're sold this bill of goods that, and it's evidenced by people put all the money onto the wedding day.
Yeah.
You spend thousands of dollars on a wedding day to make it magical because the marriage is this magical thing. And marriage is a lot of work. It's not the magical thing.
Everybody tells you how to get married and nobody tells you how to be married.
Yeah.
Except
or that you're supposed to get
Well, there
married.
are some counseling classes that are very good. The Catholic 1-year marriage counseling, and you go over everything from how many kids you both want to where you're going to spend your Christmases to where, it's very in-depth how you think about money. Do you have a credit card? Do you believe in debt? It's very precise. There is an outlet for that, and there are some other outlets for that. But by and large, that is not at all what is emphasized when you get married. And you do think this, I have the wedding cake. I'm going to save a piece of the wedding cake for my anniversary. Then you have this anniversary. Then you have this. And then you are surrounded by your grandchildren at your dining room table, and you have the golden anniversary cake, and you have all these expectations down the road of we're going to make money, we're going to have kids, we're going to raise the kids are going to go to college, then we're going to retire, then we're going to travel, and then you have a divorce in the middle of that, and you start over.
And suddenly your milestone markers don't exist anymore.
They don't.
So that's
have new
what
ones.
Those
But you do
things
have new
are
ones.
milestone markers that are sort of traditionally we traditionally think of those things as the rites of passage, right?
Right.
When that isn't how it has to be necessarily,
Well, I agreed. So I think that at this point, for each one of us, it's any of those things that we sort of had our heart set on. Well, we can set our hearts on new things that take those places. Like, I'm not going to give up traveling in my older age just because I don't have somebody to travel with. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to travel, and I'm going to travel with girlfriends. I'm going to have a blast doing that. I don't have to do that in retirement with a husband. I can still, that is still a dream that can still live.
Right. It's like you have to have a bit of a more non-traditional view on what you thought things were going to be. Like I love traveling. And I had in my head that I would travel with my husband and my son. Well, lately it's been I either travel with my friends and partner, without my son, or my son and I go on vacation and I have an equally fabulous time with that. It's not like I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
I think after the initial shock of this is not going to happen the way that
this is not what I wanted.
Dreamed that it would, then you reorder your priorities. And I think that's the one thing that I have done in divorce. I have different priorities, maybe. I mean, my child is always number one, but, I don't think that I necessarily have to have somebody that I'm married to by my side.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, you think of things in a different way.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I'm struggling in a slightly different place in that it's not that my children are not number one, but my children are their own number ones now. Because I'm, everybody, I have one in college, two in college, one who is now engaged. Yay. I mean, so they're living their lives and out there, so they don't have to be my number one anymore. And so to reframe with it really just being me and having to define what that number one is now. Well, it was supposed to be husband and working towards retirement and this sort of things. Well, now it is me and my artwork, this podcast and writing, and it is reframing. And so that place where my husband was is now more my creative endeavors.
I think I have an interesting question.
Oh, fabulous.
Since you guys got divorced, have you had family pressure to find someone else?
I have not.
Okay, and we'll tell this one on him. But anyway, my daddy is very traditional, Southern Baptist. He was the superintendent of Sunday schools. There were certain expectations that went with being raised in the church and things like that. So when I got divorced, I talk it to my dad about a lot of things, and he's been with me on this journey. And so I called him one day and I said, Daddy, I don't think I'm ever going to get married again. I really, you go through that phase where I'm not getting married. I'm just, So I was in that phase, and I called him up and said, Daddy, I just don't think I'm ever going to get married. He said, well, I think you need to think about that. And I know where you are in that, and that's fine. And I said, what would you think if I just had a companion? And I'm like, holding my breath, and he goes, well, I think that's a fine idea. I was so surprised. But, I was very surprised. But my daddy's always been very supportive. And I think he knew that I was in the first part of divorce and kind of struggling with what am I going to do and how am I going to review myself and how is this all going to shake out. And so, but that was the last thing I thought he was going to say. But it was nice that it was very supportive, and he could see me in a different role. I think before I could see myself.
I think, but like you and I both had really toxic marriages with substance abuse, and yours had affair. Like all of these things. So I think that our families are looking at us going, "We really don't want you to repeat the past. Like I think you're good. Like you're going to be fine. Just do whatever you want." So
I think with my family, who I love, and if you guys listen to this podcast, this has nothing to do. I'm just talking about it, but I think that like right now the relationship that I'm in is a little bit of a non-traditional relationship, but it's really good. But we kind of keep it separate from family stuff right now, and that has been nice to just get to have that and explore that or whatever that's going to be. And my family, I felt a lot of pressure to like include my partner in family things, and I don't think that's just not a thing that we're necessarily ready for. And I just have felt it's like they're like, I think you said it to me one time, it's like they're viewing him as like your husband already. Yes. And I'm like, well, hold like wait.
Hold on,
It's not like I don't need to jump from one lifelong commitment to another lifelong commitment. Like it's fine to be in that gray area. But I think when you've been married, I don't know, at least for me, it's okay. Beth just got a text. A text
Real
message.
It's from my child.
From her daughter. But it's like when you've been married for a minute, they just expect that like that's the next thing. And my father is great though. My father is not. He does not want to know about my love life. That's not interesting to him. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to ever be married again, or if, like you said, maybe I end up with a long term partner that, or maybe I don't. Like,
Well, I think when you're first divorced, you realize it's more than just a word, like the division of property and all the little
it is a living
things
death
that
like
you have to go through.
It's like it truly is a living death. That is this third unit that you didn't know you had, that you are purposefully killing off. Like, it's like a murder, and you're doing it on purpose and dividing and all of that thing, and that's really hard.
It's very hard. It's physically hard. It's mentally hard. It's spiritually hard. I just think you're crushed on every side when you do it. And I think a lot of people get divorced and then they realize this is like a full-time job.
Yeah.
To get divorced is a full-time job.
Oh my gosh.
All the
Absolutely.
paperwork, all
a
the
full-time
meetings, the money you put out for lawyers.
Uh-huh.
It is like a full-time job.
Yep.
For a while. It consumes you.
And it takes...
And I think after a while, after you've been consumed by it and jumped through all the hoops, you need downtime.
Yeah.
And you don't need to make lists of what you need to do. You just need to rest. You know what I'm saying? You have to gather yourself back together.
I agree. And I think part of what you, Lauren, are kind of going through is that you are rediscovering who you are.
Yeah.
And your partner really fits in well with that. But you do have a non-traditional relationship. And I think there are some people that you may know who look at that and
I'm going to say
just sort of disregard it.
I'm going to say what that is, just so the audience doesn't.
Sure.
So I have a non-traditional relationship in that my boyfriend is significantly younger than me, relatively younger than me.
Yes. Not shockingly.
It's not shockingly.
But younger. But a generation.
He's younger.
Okay. I'm going to take exception to that because men do that all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's what I'm saying.
My ex had girlfriends 20, 30 years junior to him.
Yeah.
And nobody bats an eye, but if a woman does that, it's like you feel like you have to explain it.
Right. But I think that you have people in your life who look at that and then disregard it because of he's younger, instead because they are traditionalists.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at you and going, well, that can't be real because it doesn't fit in my body.
But that's again, it's one of those supposed to things that is just different than I thought it would be. Like, I didn't think that I would end up with someone younger than me. I just or explore that with somebody younger than me, but it is just
well. If we're talking about supposed to, I didn't expect to ever really be alone. That was never an expectation. I just assumed that I was just cute and fun, and that I'd always have somebody kind of waiting. But I'm at this place. I also never expected. I was supposed to want someone and to want to be married. And after the last relationship that I'm out of, I really find myself for the first time in my life, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Really?
I want to. I don't.
Cool.
I want to
but that's
be
okay too.
with me and with my kids and with my art. Like, for the first time ever, I really feel like, I feel blessed to have this time to get to just really sort of get to know who I am in this stage of my life.
Yeah.
And if things with that person had worked out, I would not have this.
Do you feel like society, I guess, again, talking about expectations and supposed to, that society looks on single women of a certain age as like, well, what happened? Or like, why aren't you with someone?
I think they do.
Yeah.
I feel largely invisible.
Really?
Well,
Interesting.
okay.
Yes.
So y'all know that I've joined the Catholic faith, and so the Catholic faith, it has been so strange to me because they are like, okay, you are called to a vocation. You are to be married, or it's like you're to be married to the church, but there's nowhere in between. And when they talk about marriage, they're talking about being young and fruitful. Well, my tree has withered and died. I am no longer young and fruitful. And so where am I if I don't want to be married to the church? Where's my role? Where is my singlehood role? I mean, so it's that, even.
But I think society does that too.
I do.
Women are,
I think single women are left out of things
when they're young and beautiful.
Yeah.
And thin. I'm just going to say all the things that my ex thought were really, really, really valuable. And I'm sorry, I'm not 34 anymore. I will never be 34. I'll probably never be a size 2'4" ever again. But, you know,
I don't want to
I just
not
think
eat the
people
things
my
to be a
age,
2-4.
no, people my age women at my age are very invisible. Guys my age or a little bit older date younger women.
Oh, that's true. Even the guy that I was seeing, he left me and chose someone significantly younger than him. I mean, he went,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that's just, I guess it was kind of a pattern for him anyway. But it just, I don't know. I don't know how to, but it doesn't matter to me anymore, I guess, is sort of I'm supposed to be wanting to be married. And I am actually very thankful in this life right this minute to have been able to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it held me in a waiting pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this because I don't have someone to fill that hole.
Right.
Well, that's not true. I mean, that was never true. I was always able to do everything. I may have wanted to do things with a particular person, but I'm having a great time doing things on my own. I think but it's a reframe.
Yeah.
It is a reframe.
It is. We're supposed to, but we don't have to. And the alternative can actually be better.
Because how much more enjoyable are those things on your own than they would have been in the previous relationship you were in? You know,
I was not in
that's
a
true.
relationship with a person. Well, he appreciated art, but he did not necessarily understand my need to create, my need to be doing something creative basically all the time, or thinking about it all the time. That was not a valued commodity. And so now I feel like I'm free to paint or stitch or come up with something or, you know, have my own time. I'm finding that my supposed to be was I always kept busy. And now I think y'all know I'm learning to relax and having some downtime, and rest time is important. And so I'm kind of learning that, even though
You're getting there.
I am.
I wouldn't say you've learned it completely.
I haven't learned it. It's a hard lesson for somebody that.
Because you're supposed to complete things.
Yeah. We're not going to get onto that one anyway. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bonnie.
Sorry, I just about snorted.
Well, and that's one of my supposed tos. You know. So I'm learning to be a little more loosey-goosey and explore that kind of fun side. And
I'm getting to the point that, like, other than the work that I know I have to do, I kind of wake up thinking every day, like, what is today going to bring? You know what I mean?
that's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling. And, like, even the last time I saw my therapist, because, again, we've run the gamut on all of these topics. But the last time I saw her, she was like, you're doing great. And I was like, I am. She said, we worked so hard to get here. And I said, I know. And she said, do you even need to come anymore? And I said, yeah, I'm not quitting while I'm ahead. She goes, okay, we're just going to refer to this as life coaching. And I'm like, great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But, like, it took me a little of unconditioning myself to be okay with the not supposed to's. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's a
like
large
this
part
is
of
exactly
it. Unlearning.
Like unlearning, yeah.
Unlearning
yeah.
what you
I think-
thought you were supposed to do.
100%.
I think it almost is really valuable to think about or list all of the things I was supposed to be doing at this age, and then all of the things I get to do in their place.
Exactly.
You know, because it doesn't matter. So anyone can go through anything, any sort of big change. Somebody lost a job. I mean, you could be married and your husband lost his job and you completely had to change everything about your life. You don't even have to be divorced. It could be anything that changed you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has a blessing in it if you look at it.
That's true.
It's that Pollyanna look on the good side of things. So what are the things that you're able to put in those supposed to spots and change them into I get tos?
And things, and I think even if you have to do things, I think you can do them with joy, and I think you can find something to latch onto that you're thankful for and that you find beauty in and that you get joy out of.
Okay, well, on that, what is the one thing, say, today that you guys could say would not necessarily have been on your list 15 years ago for today that you are able to say that you have joy in that you wouldn't have had if you did not have the big changes in your life?
Alone time. Sitting on my porch, swinging, resting, reading. Of course, I'm
Got
always
to get a swing
stitching.
from my porch.
But yeah. But that alone time, that downtime that I never allowed myself to have before.
So, just today?
Or just recently. I mean,
So, a thing for me that's huge for me is I am a person who would like to be surrounded by people all the time. Like, I love to be surrounded by people. And
yes, I hear them on your porch all the time.
yes, all the time. So
great.
I kind of have just like a rotating door of like people popping in, or like tonight my stage manager for the show I'm about to direct came over and we did some work, or like a friend kind of needed to stay with me this weekend, and so she just stayed with me. Well, I don't think twice about these things because I grew up that way, basically.
Right.
Like if people needed or wanted to come over, whatever. And when I was married, I didn't have that kind of freedom, and I really felt very suffocated by that. Like I felt like I couldn't be with my friends as much, or couldn't invite people over as much, when that's not my nature at all. My nature is to be very welcoming. And one of my friends, after my divorce, she even said, I feel like we got you back, so that has been very freeing for me, just to like,
to be yourself.
I basically have an open door policy, and that was something I didn't really get to have. So that was just something that happened today or over the last few days that would stick out to me.
That's good.
What's yours, Bonnie?
Well, I've got, I guess, a couple. Right now, my house is a disaster as I work towards the art show for the next 2 weeks. I have art show next weekend, and it's okay that it is.
Yeah.
It's okay that I have things everywhere, and that my one kid who lives with me looks at me tonight and goes, "Are you gonna cook?" And I'm like, "No, but you can cook." And he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna eat something else." I was like, "That's fine." Like, what I mean? But it's not this judgment that I didn't cook, and there's no judgment that I have paintings kind of spread out. That's not judged. And then another thing that I thought about today. So I'm doing some work on my house, starting in probably a couple of months or a month or so. I get to make those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I get to decide on a house color, and it can be a girly one if I want it. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous little things. Like I can decide on a house color. I can decide on tile in a bathroom. I mean, all of these decisions, and I can make them.
Mm-hmm.
And my house is funny. So I told the guy who's working on my house right now, he's painting, trimming my house. And I said, I really want an eclectic home. And I'm not sure that this is good or bad. But he goes, "Oh, you got it." I'm like, well, good. But, because I want it to be, I want my home to be memorable. I want to walk into every room and have art that I love, and a room where I've cultivated the pieces and chosen everything. And so I just love that part right now.
And I think that's important when you get divorced, to make your house your home, even if you're still in the marital home.
Mm-hmm.
To
changing things up, and all
make
that.
things that I painted and rearranged everything.
You mean it can be something other than not making your 1909 den floor dip by a foot or things like that, not having to do structural things?
Yes. You can do all kinds of whatever you want.
Whatever you want. And paint is not terribly expensive.
No,
just
it's
painting
not.
a room is
Paint is the cheapest way to change a room.
to change. And to be honest, it
changes the atmosphere.
Yeah,
in
it
the whole house.
does. It is. It's like giving yourself a whole new backdrop, whole new canvas. So I'm looking forward to all of that. So, and art shows. I get to do art shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
By
your
myself.
time is your own.
And I've been able to figure out how to do them by myself. Do you know
There
how
you go.
huge that is?
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought I had to have somebody with me to pop up a tent and do all these things. I don't. I can do it all by myself. I'm good. I mean, I can. I've done it.
I know.
I don't
I'm
say,
proud
I didn't
of
say I
you.
really love doing it. I would rather have
I
my...
am proud
But I
of you
also
for doing
have
it.
some great friends who get to go with me to do things. Beth's going with me this weekend.
I'm going
are
this
you?
weekend.
Yeah, so she's going to go with me this
She's
weekend.
taking the Girl
But I'll
Scout.
already have it all set
The
up
Girl
by the time
Scout.
you get there.
That's true.
So you just get to entertain me while I'm there.
There you go. I hope I can do that.
You will. Okay. Are we good? Do we have anything else to say?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I think.
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
That was
just
a-
being okay with
It-
changing the that picture in your head of what your life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, and that word change, even good change is stressful and hard.
Well,
And
I think that's true.
So making sure that but to look at change as a positive thing, not a negative thing, will help the stress, I think.
Yeah, I think
At least
so
to frame
too.
it as something good.
I think so too.
All right. Thank y'all for
Cheers,
joining us.
girls.
Yeah, cheers. Oh, here, let's cheers. Let's cheers. We'll do our own thing. Cheers.
Do we need to do the what are you doing this week to live the life you love?
Sure. Yes, we do. All right, ladies. So what are y'all doing this week to live the life you love?
I have a lot of gigs this week at work. I do, and I need to go see a
So
couple
work
of
is how you're
shows.
living the life you love this week?
Well, I love my job. Y'all know I love my job, so I've got to check those boxes and hang out with my kiddo a little bit, and I've got to see. Oh, I'm going to a concert tomorrow night.
There you go.
Yeah.
Of one of my favorite bands, so I'm really excited I get to do
That's
that.
Going with friends.
Yeah, yes, one of my good friends.
Okay, good.
That's great.
What are you doing, Beth?
I'm starting a new business.
Yes, you
Painting champagne bottles.
Woo!
So much fun. Who knew?
Oh, and the champagne girls just ganged together.
I know. Well, I was telling a friend today, I started my little painting ventures when I was young. And I used to do craft fairs and paint barrettes, hand-painted barrettes and things like that. And now I feel like full circle.
You're right back to it.
I'm right back to painting now I'm painting champagne bottles. So I think it'll be fun, and they're kind of cool, and everybody has a different idea of what they want. So
I think mine this week is the art show. I have a really fun, cool, historic VRBO that we get to stay in, and the art show is at Sloss Furnace, a big Birmingham show. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. The guy that I graduated from high school with is the featured artist for the art show.
that'll
Dirk
be interesting.
Statchke. So I'm just kind of excited about
It's fun.
going.
What was that all song? I'll be in Birmingham tonight. That's a throwback to you, Mary Scott.
All right, well, good.
All right.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'll have a great week.
Y'all too.
Thank y'all for joining us for Champagne Sunday.
See you next week,
See you
girls.
next week. Yeah, cheers.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.